start of the book, or at least the start of the audiobook, you've got a few different intros.
Right.
Rogan,
Yep.
your mum, and The Rock.
Right.
Slightly odd trifecta, but I do think it works. So obviously your time, Rogan's had you on now the third time that you've been on. What have you learned since being friends with him? He's a very singular individual.
You know what? One thing about him is that he's made it, and he's all about everybody else making it. There's one thing that he believes in, is that there's enough food, enough cake for everybody out here to eat. So there's a lot of people in this world who don't want to see you make it because they think you could take a piece of their pie. That motherfucker's like, look, dude.
Pie for everybody.
I got 14 pies, bro. One for every motherfucker here. And so he's all about people making it. And that's something that a lot of us can, learn from. That people think, oh, I made it. I'm going to hold on to it. I'm not going to help anybody else out.
The thing is, I don't even know if he was... something tells me he had that philosophy before he'd even made it. Yeah. As he was on the come up.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't know him that much back then. But he really is, to me, the Oprah of the modern day. He's the Oprah of the modern day. That guy's just has made so many people known to the world, gotten so many messages out. So yeah.
I said, I was talking to Andrew Schultz about the same thing, and he'd said very similar sentiment, especially he's coming from a comedy angle, right? And if you're going to be championed in comedy, it's super, super difficult.
Right.
And what he said was that the comedy world is so zero sum, like your gig is not my gig.
That's right.
And the fact that you can have someone that just gives that gift out is very rare. Another friend, his wife does Ayurvedic medicine. So I'm not really too sure what it is, but she did something to do with like tarot card reading.
Okay.
And he asked her, he was about to go on Rogan's podcast. So he asked her to do the tarot card readings about Joe, because it might give him a little bit more insight, or it'd just be interesting in general. And the tarot card that she pulls out might not be tarot, it'll be something similar. The card that she pulled out was a older warrior, cross-legged, sat under a tree with his hands like that. This guy and he's got a weapon down next to him. Weapons laid down, transcended the battle. And I was like, holy fuck. It's like, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about what's going on with this tarot card reading thing, but that one seems pretty accurate.
It's probably perfect for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about raising other people up as you go along.
Oh yeah.
That, as you get a platform, as you have the opportunity to expose other people that are, almost all of your time as a podcaster is slipstreaming other people who have bigger platforms. And then after a while, you get to this stage where you can be that springboard for others.
Right.
Some unbelievably talented person that nobody knows about.
True statement.
There you go. Now the world can know about you.
He's done the best at that. He's the best at that.
What about The Rock? Have you ever met him? You ever trained with him?
Never. We just DM'd. And I was like, I'm going to give it a shot in the dark. The guy follows me. He knows about me, whatever. I was like, this guy's so big, man. He ain't gonna, fuck it. So I was DMing him, man. Within like 20 minutes, hey, man, what's up, brother? Sends me a voice message in DM. Been following your work, man. Love what you fucking do. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, no problem, man. I'll hook you up. I'll be more than honored to hook you up. And in the audiobook, what people don't know is I left him alone. I was like, hey, man, thank you. I appreciate it. I want to bother you. Go back to doing the great work that you do. You're so busy. So after the audiobook, he was like, hey, brother, you want me to, read what I wrote for you for the audiobook? And I was like, yeah, that's great. That's how the idea came about. It was actually The Rock's idea for him to do the blurb. So then I got Joe Rogan and I got my mom to read the blurbs. So that came from him. I wasn't going to put the blurbs in the audiobook, but he was like, hey, man, I got a studio right here. I'll blast it out, send it over to you, and we'll get it done.
That's a training session that the world wants to see.
I believe so.
That should be part of the book tour. It should be a training session between you guys. Talk me through what the next phase of your life has in store.
So after this podcast, I probably won't do another one for a very long time. And I did my book, came out on the 6th. It's now the 16th. I did my 10 days of the book, and now it's done. And now it's going back to the lab. So now I go back to firefighting, go back to finding another level of David Goggins. And that's done in quiet areas and finding more of myself, finding these spaces I haven't, discovered yet in my mind. And I really love that about life. I love mastering self. I love it. I love it. There's nothing more, because I know where I came from, and it's amazing that where I came from, that person could have died, that very fat, lazy, unfulfilled person. And within inside that person was this person talking to you. It's very freaky to me. And a lot of us have these two people that you have greatness way over here, but you decide to live in this space over here, because between greatness, or between this space here and greatness, there's a lot of fucking work. There's so much space to fill in with work. And we just say, fuck it. I'll just stay over here in this space. So I like to fucking examine all these spaces, and there's still more. There's still a lot more.
Are you aiming to find peace at any point?
Think about this. I love that question. I'm so glad you asked it. You know a little bit about me. When you've come from that place I talk about to the place I am now, it's not the peace you find. It's the peace I find. And I find so much peace in looking back at that young David at 8 years old with white splotches on his face and stuttering and hair patches falling out. And I look at him and I'm like, man, there's so much peace in knowing what I've accomplished and what I've done. So my peace may be different for others. That's why I never critique or never judge anyone, because I don't know your story, where you come from. I found peace years ago. In the battle, you find peace. When you go to war with yourself, you find a lot of peace, because you know exactly who you are. And that is where the peace is really found for me.